Fellow gamers, welcome to this video. This is a video about my world record speed run for Pokemon Battle Revolution Stargazer Coliseum Round 2 with transfers. This game is, I would say, pretty underrated and underplayed. I have a lot of childhood nostalgia for it, which is why I enjoy it, but I also just think it's a good game generally. In this game, its kind of unique gimmick is you don't catch any Pokemon. It's purely battle simulator, and you can either use in-game, like pre-made Pokemon teams, or you can connect it to a Nintendo DS game. I think just Pokemon Pearl and Platinum and Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum. I don't think you can connect Heart Gold or Soul Silver. And you can bring a Pokemon in. So this speedrun is after you beat the full game. You can redo the final Coliseum. Coliseums are kind of just like gyms. You can redo the last Coliseum. And you will face 8 sets of 4 trainers each. And you can use one team for each set of 4 Pokemon, or each set of 4 trainers, and it's in the kind of classic VGC doubles format of each trainer has 6 Pokemon, and you bring 4, and it's a 2v2. So for this first trainer here, there's a few things I need to look out for. Motham carries the Focus Sash item, meaning it cannot be knocked out by a single attack. So I Vacuum Wave into it with Lucario, and then using Eruption, I can finish it off. And I get Good Luck here because Dustox can protect, but it does not. But yeah, it's similar to VGC in the same way where you have an item clause and a Pokemon clause, meaning you can't have more than one of the same Pokemon in your team, and your Pokemon cannot be holding this same item. So every item has to be unique. And here on the second 2 Pokemon, none of these are anything special I need to worry about. They all get knocked out by regular Eruption. Helping Hand isn't necessary. It's just the move I have with the slowest animation, so you'll see me using Helping Hand when I don't have anything else to do, just because it's the quickest animation. But yeah, the first battle is just, a Bug-type trainer, a classic Pokemon to use early game battles with bug trainers, so pretty easy. The first battle of the first set, but it only gets harder from here. So ideally my goal is to make every battle a 2-turn battle. That's the fastest a battle can be in this format, where you knock out both Pokemon in the beginning, and then you knock out both Pokemon in the second turn, and then the game ends. But you will see that's not always possible. Some Pokemon and some trainers are just, if a certain trainer has certain Pokemon together, it's not going to be possible to win in only 2 battles. So some are going to be 3 average, and that's just fine. But really, hopefully, never more than 3. If it's more than 3, I did something wrong or I got really bad luck. So here I need to Helping Hand in order to guarantee the knockout on the Pelipper. But unfortunately, Machamp uses Protect here. The reason why Machamp uses Protect is because the Pelipper knows Tailwind and can set up Tailwind in order to double the speed of that Pokemon and the Pokemon next to it for like 3 or 4 turns. So even though Machamp sees the knockout with Dynamic Punch on Lucario, it still has a chance to Protect there, so that's just bad luck. And I get more bad luck where the next Pokemon that comes at is Quagsire, and that also has a chance to Protect. So I go for Feint into it. Feint is the one of 2 moves that breaks Protect. It's like the most common one. The other one is like Shadow Force, and it's only given to Giratina. And it's a 2-turn move, so it's not very helpful for us here. But Machamp attempts to go for Protect again because Quagsire sees the knockout with Earthquake on Lucario, and because of that, Machamp wants to protect to not get hit by that Earthquake. But that's annoying, and I'm lucky I did not have to see another protect animation there. And I got unlucky again where Sudowoodo also is a Pokemon that knows Protect, but it does not use it. I find that the AI very rarely goes for Protect if it just has one Pokemon left at the end. Pretty much always attacks, so that is good. But so you can see, I've done I did 2 runs at this point, full runs, compared to my first run that I did, which was like, I think it was about 20 seconds slower than the world record. It looks like for this fight, Carry, I did a 2-turn battle last time, so we're going to be behind now about 30 seconds because it took 3 turns. You can kind of think of the time save and time gain in these like chunks of like 30 to 45 seconds, because that's just how long like an extra turn takes. Like there's going to be like, oh, this was a slightly faster turn, but for the most part, the big time saves are going to be mitigating extra turns. Alright, going to Kelsey, third battle of set 1. The Pachirisu here holds a Focus Sash, so I need to break it. And then the other thing is, her Purugly knows Fake Out and will always use Fake Out, so I need to click Follow Me to redirect the Fake Out so that Typhlosion can't use Eruption. If a Pokemon knows Fake Out, it will almost always go for it on the first turn. I've only seen once in all my training and practice where the Pokemon who knows Fake Out didn't use it. So yeah, so here I get some bad luck where I get Purugly, which means I need to Follow Me, which means I need to watch the Fake Out animation, and Luxray has the ability to Intimidate, and I have to watch that animation for it lowering the attack of both my Pokemon. So that's not great luck. You see, I use Follow Me here. In this generation specifically, and I think previous. No, this is the first generation. No, it's not the first generation. Follow Me since Gen 1. But Follow Me is faster than Fake Out, and I think starting Gen 5, that is no longer the case. So you can't redirect Fake Out in later games. But here you can, and that's super helpful. Otherwise, it would be really hard to do some of these battles without being able to redirect the Fake Out user. You would just have to hopefully get lucky that the Fake Out user did not come out. And another thing that is kind of a factor of luck is every Pokemon. This game's kind of famous for the Pokemon's fainting animations. Like every Pokemon has a unique fainting animation, and they are different lengths. So some Pokemon have extremely fast fainting animations, and some have the most dramatic, slow fainting animations of like all time. So that is a factor in this. It can add multiple dozens of seconds over the course of the run, seeing as you knock out 32 times 4 Pokemon. That's a lot of Pokemon. So here I use Azelf specifically because it is a Pokemon that is faster than Staraptor. Because if Joe leads Staraptor, it has a Focus Sash, I need to hit it twice. But it's also a Pokemon that knows Imprison and Protect. And Imprison is a move that when you use it, the opponent cannot use any moves that you know. And all his Pokemon know Protect. So I get lucky that turn 1, he does not Protect with either Pokemon, so it's an ideal start, and then I Imprison, so turn 2, neither Pokemon can Protect. And if he has a Staraptor out, I need to Thunder it or Psychic it in order to break the Focus Sash, and if he has a Empoleon out, I need to Thunder it because it does not get knocked out to a single Water Spout because it's too bulky. And so here, neither Pokemon can Protect, and I can easily just Water Spout and Thunder. And in my last run, this was a 3-turn fight, and this is only going to be a 2-turn, so I'm going to gain some time back. as I'm currently behind like 30 seconds. But yeah, there's a few ways I try to mitigate protect. If there's a greater chance the Pokemon in the back will have protect than the ones in the front, I will often go for this imprison protect strategy, where I'm risking a protect in the beginning to guarantee no protect for the rest of the game. And then otherwise, so now we're 13 seconds ahead because I saved so much time making that just a 2-turn fight, and we're on to set 2 here. Other ways to mitigate protect is feint, the attack feint, but that can only target one of the 2 Pokemon. So if like both Pokemon can protect, and I just feint into one, like it's like that's at best a 50% chance. So it's best used when only one Pokemon out at a time has a chance of protecting. And then the third way I'm using to mitigate protect is to encourage the Pokemon to attack me by having, like for some Pokemon, I purposely have Pokemon that have really low health and defense IVs and stats in order for the Pokemon that knows protect on the opponent's team to see that they have like a guaranteed knockout on my Pokemon, because then they're encouraged. It encourages the AI to attack me. I don't know by what percent it encourages the AI. I don't know the details, but I just know that I've seen multiple Pokemon have a much lower chance of using protect. It's like they get distracted by seeing the knockout, even though my Pokemon's faster. So here in this battle, I'm using Kabutops because I need a Pokemon that is faster than all my opponent's Pokemon and can knock out both Roserade, Carnivine, and Blissey with a spread move. But in this case, I don't know how, because I swear I did all the damage calculations. Water Spout and Rock Slide should have knocked out Blissey. Blissey might have some defense EVs or something that I don't know about, because the whole point is that Rock Slide there plus Water Spout is supposed to knock it out. And I need a spread move to knock it out because Roserade has the Focus Sash, so I need to be able to hit Roserade and Blissey or Carnivine. But I got a very low roll there, and I might need to change that Kabutops' item to an item that increases damage in order to knock out that Blissey. But this kind of leads to one of the main issues I had with prepping for these runs is, while a lot of information is available for the Pokemon that each trainer is going to use, not all the information is available or accurate. I have their movesets, I have like the Pokemon themselves, the movesets, the abilities, and the items for the most part, though I noticed that at least one item was incorrect from what was listed online. But I do not have the Pokemon's natures. I don't know if they're always consistent or if they're randomized. I don't have the Pokemon's EVs, their effort values, how much training they have in each stat, and I don't have their IVs. So it makes calculating how much damage I need to do or how much speed I need to have, specifically how much speed I need to have to outspeed something, really difficult. So we went an extra turn there, so we lost 30 seconds again, about 25 seconds. And there's plenty of time to make up. I will say that in set 8, I definitely have some pretty major time loss, as well as, I can't remember which other one. I think it's in set 3, there was one I got pretty unlucky on with some bright powder misses. Okay, this is one of the harder trainers in set 2, and honestly, it might be one that if I redo fights, redo the speed run, I'm gonna maybe need to come up with some new sets for, because Tentacool does not die to a Water Spout, or not get knocked out to a Water Spout, does not get knocked out to a Helping Hand Water Spout, and it also has a Focus Sash, meaning it needs to be hit twice. But Sea King also needs a Helping Hand Water Spout in order for me to knock it out, so that's why I go for Helping Hand here. And this trainer's gimmick is protecting one Pokemon and then using acupuncture on the protecting Pokemon to randomly increase one of its stats by 2. Here it gets accuracy, so that's like, it's not that good. And here I go for Helping Hand Water Spout again in order to guarantee the knockout on Kingdra, or Seadra, or Seaking. Wow, I realized there's a lot of Pokemon with overlapping names there. If it had gotten like a special defense boost, that would have been a huge problem. I think Water Spout Thunder might have still knocked it out, but it would have been close. So this one's going to be a 3-turn, but this one I think is almost always going to be a 3-turn. I think actually it might even be a 4-turn for me, unfortunately, because here there is a Pokemon with acupuncture and a Pokemon that can protect, and unfortunately I need to use Helping Hand in order for the B-Barrel to be knocked out in one hit. So like even if I had fainted it there, Feint plus Water Spout would not have been enough damage most of the time to knock it out. I probably still should have gone for it. But one of the downsides of Feint is it has a pretty slow animation. So even though like it might save you an extra turn sometimes, it's not that huge of a time save, because hitting a move into Protect, you know, just doesn't show an animation, and you just have to watch the Protect animation. Well, if you Feint into it, you have to see the Protect animation, you have to see your Pokemon run all the way up there, and use Feint and break it, and then you get to see your attack animation. So yeah, this is a forward turn battle, and I go down in probably another like 20 to 30 seconds again. But lots of time save later on, and this is a tough one. I'd say it averages 3 turns, but it can go to 4 pretty easily. And I might need to come up with a more consistent strategy. Yeah, in the early games here, the most consistent damaging strategy, if you're just able to knock out everything, is to use Pokemon with Eruption, Typhlosion being the best user, or Water Spout with Kyogre just being the best and most common Pokemon I use throughout all of the sets here. It gets less useful later on when the sets get more difficult. Here also I definitely split late, but so we're not actually a minute, it's more like 45 seconds. But this fight, Joy, I specifically need to use a Leafeon, which I would have never expected to use. But I need a Pokemon that can use a spread type move that can knock out grass types. And Razor Leaf is the best use there, because Discharge would hit myself. Because in the worst case scenario of Milotic, Golduck, or Pelipper being next to each other, I can't just use like a Helping Hand Water Spout. That doesn't knock out Milotic, and Pelipper has a Focus Sash, so I need to be able to hit Pelipper and the Milotic, or Golduck and Milotic, which is the bad luck scenario I would get here if I wasn't prepared. But I am prepared, and Water Spout plus Razor Leaf is guaranteed knockout on both these Pokemon, and I have Leaf Blade for if it's just one of them. But unfortunately, Razor Leaf does have a 5% chance of missing each target. It's only 95% accurate, but there's not much you can do about that, and I get the hits, and this is just a 2-turn battle, which is very good. And with my sets, it should be, but there are some Pokemon that can no protect, and might go for it, so it is always something to be concerned about. But now we're only going to be like 35-40 seconds behind, instead of like the minute. Okay, going on to Sashay, I don't actually know how to pronounce her name. But she has some annoying sets. Her team's always like meant to like be more like tricky than actually damaging, like using Swagger, Double Team, Confuse Ray, Spite, Curse, moves like that, as opposed to doing direct damaging moves. So you don't want to deal with any of that BS. But she always leaves Spiritomb first, and she always leaves Weavile last. So here I get to show off a special tech that I did not know about until I watched P's run for this video, where normally it'd be impossible to knock out a Pokemon with that will use Fake Out and holds a Focus Sash item, because it would keep one of your Pokemon from moving, meaning you can't hit it twice. But fortunately, there is a berry you can hold, the Jaboka berry, where if a Pokemon makes physical contact with you, it takes a bit of damage. So by redirecting the Follow Me into the Pokemon that holds the Jaboka berry, Raichu breaks its own Focus Sash, and then you can knock it out with Water Sprout. It's still a bit of bad luck because you have to watch the Fake Out animation and the berry animation, but it still guarantees a 2-turn. Oh, it doesn't guarantee 2 turn. It guarantees that first turn just being 1 turn, and then every other Pokemon knows Protect besides Raichu and Spiritomb. So here I have 2 Pokemon that could Protect, and I only have 1 Faint Attack. So I just guessed the Weavile. I don't know, it likes to Protect more in my experience. The Vespiquen likes to go for like double team and stuff. Terrible, terrible stuff. And I get lucky that I choose the right Pokemon, but I get unlucky that it went for Protect at all, because you have to watch Smeargle trot over there. Give him a little love tap. And I got lucky that Vespiquen's Quick Claw did not activate. The 2 most dreaded things for this run are the item Quick Claw. If the opponent's Pokemon has a Quick Claw item, every turn it has a 20% chance of triggering. So random luck, 20% chance of the Pokemon going first in its bracket priority. So normally Pokemon's just using like a regular bracket priority move, but it will go first. Which means it doesn't matter how fast my Pokemon is, and my Kyogre has been holding a Choice Scarf item, which boosts my speed by 1.5 times. At the downside, I've only been able to use 1 move, but it's not really a downside because I only really want to use 1 move. And the other worst thing are the items Bright Powder and Lax Incense. They do the same thing. If the opponent is holding one of those items, an 100% accurate move will only be 90%. So it reduces all attacks, Pokemon attacks into its accuracy by 10%. And that is obviously not what you want to see on a speedrun. So I have ways of mitigating that, and you'll see that going forward, but it is not always guaranteed. And if you just get bad enough luck, you'll never hit a Pokemon, and it will suck. Alright, so for this, set 3 is the first time you're going to see me use an Explosion strategy. Explosion in this generation, and I think earlier generations, not only is it a 250 base power move, which is the highest, in this generation it halves the Pokemon's defense stats that it's hitting. So it's effectively a 500 base power move. And you want to use it into a Ghost type, obviously, because it's a normal type move. And it will not hurt my teammate here. And the best Pokemon for that is Bayonet here. So Bayonet I use in Prison, so that no Pokemon in the back can Protect, though both of these Pokemon no Protect here, and I could have gotten unlucky with one of them protecting. But this trainer's gimmick is using Belly Drum. So it normally wants to Belly Drum first, then Protect, and allow its teammates to psych up and copy the stat increases. And the reason why I'm using Glalie, you're like, why would you use Glalie? That's not a very good Explosion Pokemon. Like, it has 80 base attack, that's not very high. And the reason I use Glalie is because it's the only Pokemon that uses Explosion that has the ability Inner Focus, meaning it cannot be flinched. So this Brugly here knows Fake Out, and if it was to be out against my Glalie, it would not use Fake Out because you cannot Fake Out Ghost types, which is why I'm using Drifloon as my other Explosion user, and it cannot Fake Out Glalie. So it is kind of a really effective way of negating Fake Out and still being able to just explode over everybody. And here's you see my other tech where, since it doesn't affect Ghost types, what happens if the opponent has a Ghost type? Well, you can use Foresight. Both the moves Foresight and Odor Sleuth make it so that you can hit Ghost types with normal type and fighting type attacks. So by having a max speed Bayonet here, I'm able to outspeed the opponent's Pokemon, use Foresight, and then explode afterwards and guarantee a knockout. So you'll see that a lot In set 6, that happens a lot as well. But I thought I brought 3 whole of my 6 Pokemon to use an explosion strategy because I find that set 3 Battle 1 Lincoln to be very difficult otherwise. And they're still unlucky where there's Pokemon with a Lax Incense and a Bright Powder, but I did not see either of them, so I got good luck in that regard. Oh yeah, this battle screwed me last time. This is the one that I lost a lot of time on. So this Pokemon right here, this Steelix, it has the Quick Claw item, meaning it can go first randomly, and it knows Explosion, which we just talked about. An Explosion would destroy all my Pokemon, and since it has Quick Claw, it would just go first. But Politoed has the ability Damp, which prevents any Pokemon from using self-destructing moves. So even if it went first and used Explosion, it wouldn't work. It would just be like, oh, Explosion isn't able to happen. So that's why we use Politoed here. And the other Pokemon that you could use is Poliwrath. But Politoed is better because it has a higher attack, or special attack stat. Then Politoed has a higher attack stat, and it uses the move Hydro Pump. And you also want to move Helping Hand because Octillery does not get knocked out by Water Spout without Helping Hand. But here is the bad luck. So both of these Pokemon have the item Lax Incense and Bright Powder, which makes moves not 100% accurate. So Water Spout would normally just hit both of them and knock them out, and there'd be no problems. But here, I miss Drifloon, and I hit Crobat at least, which is nice. And this Politoed is a max special attack Modest with a Wave Incense to boost its Water-type moves, and it's in the rain using Hydro Pump. So even though Hydro Pump has a chance to miss, the reason why I have it is to knock out Pokemon in case Water Spout misses, and it didn't knock out. So this is bad luck here. According to my damage calcs, that should always knock out, but it must mean that Drifloon is like max health or something, which of course I have no way of knowing ahead of time. But there's no way for me to boost Politoed's damage any more than that. The Life Orb item is already being used by my Drifloon, and I think the Drifloon needs a Life Orb item in order to knock out Sudowoodo in set 1 with Explosion, so I can't sacrifice it. So the next highest boosting damage item I can have is the Mystic Water. I'm pretty sure it's just a damage roll though, and I got unlucky. So that one's off in a 3-turn, and you can see I still saved 33 seconds because in my last fight against Lyle, the Crobat dodged, I think, 3 attacks using its Bright Powder attack. So I didn't get that unlucky this time. So we're ahead again by about 30 seconds going into Jonathan here. This is one of the easier fights. Water Spout from Kyogre just knocks out everything, and if I see other than Gyarados, and if I see Gyarados, I have Hidden Power Rock Lucario, so it outspeeds Gyarados and knocks it out with Hidden Power Rock alongside Water Spout from Kyogre. And I don't use Hidden Power Electric, even though Gyarados is 4 times weak to Electric, because Gyarados is holding the Wakan Berry, which reduces the damage of super effective Electric-type moves by half. So I just use Hidden Power Rock instead. The other issue is the Bronzong. It's not a huge issue, but it has the Quick Claw item, which means it can go first, so sometimes I'll follow me. Or no, it's not the Bronzong, sorry. Here's the Bastiodon. Yeah, this Bastiodon right here. Has the Quick Claw item, and it knows the move Fissure. Fissure is a guaranteed one-hit knockout on any Pokemon it hits, so any Pokemon that doesn't have Levitate or Flying is a Flying type. So it can randomly go first and randomly hit you, 20% chance to go first, with a 30% chance to hit the move. But I don't want to risk that, so I just follow me, and if it does happen, it will knock out Lucario and not Kyogre. So I get lucky here where Quick Claw does not activate, so I don't get to see what Nefarious plans that big shield is up to. And that's just very smooth 2-turn battle. Just what you want to see. That one should honestly never be more than 2 turns. Yeah, so now we are almost a minute ahead of my first run's pace, which is great to see. So Kruger here, he always leads Ambipom and Drapion. He's the only trainer that consistently leads the same 2 Pokemon, which is really strange. I don't know why, because other trainers, like, they'll lead 1 Pokemon in the front guaranteed and 1 in the back, or 1 of 2 in the front and 1 of 2 in the back. But this guy is just like, alright, I'm leading the same thing every time, so you can fully prepare for me. So I always just follow me. Palm always fakes out, so I can just follow me into my Lucario and let my Kyogre knock both of them out with Water Spout. So turn 1 is guaranteed. But turn 2, all of his Pokemon have Protect in the back. So that's something you have to keep in mind. But yeah, turn 1 goes smoothly. Redirect the fake out. Water Spout over everything. Double knockout. So the goal is for this fight to be a 2-turn battle, but this one could definitely be a 3-turn depending if things protect in the back. And on my first run through here, I got Honchkrow and it protected, so it took an extra turn. Yeah, Skunk Tank actually doesn't know protect, so if you get Skunk Tank, it does not protect. So here I use Follow Me because it is, while surprising, you wouldn't assume this. Honchkrow always uses Sucker Punch, and Honchkrow's Sucker Punch, if it crits and it's holding an item to increase its crit chance, it just knocks out Kyogre. At least I'm pretty sure it's holding that item, because online it says it's holding a Focus Sash, but it's obviously not holding a Focus Sash because I just hit it with 1 Water Spout and it got knocked out. So that's incorrect. You can see that Machamp animation is so slow. So it's kind of slightly bad luck to see Machamp instead of a Pokemon with a faster fainting animation, but it is what it is. So here we're going to get even more time save. It should be over a minute now. Probably like a minute 15. A minute 30. Yep, look at that. A minute and 30 ahead now, going into set 4. So this set's kind of like the midway set. And if you've played this game before, you'll notice that like the final trainer of each of these sets is like the gym leader of different Colosseums. So like the first Joe is the set 1 and set 5 final battle, and he's like the head of one of the different like the first gym, and so on and so on. And here, set 4, we have Mysterial as the final fight, and he is the leader for this Coliseum, for Stargazer Coliseum. He's like the final boss. So you fight him once at the end of set 4, and then once again the last battle of set 8. So it's kind of repeating like that, where like the first 4 sets are a little bit easier, and then the final 4 sets are like way crazy harder. So that's kind of just how this is built out. And this fight is very peculiar. EVA set 4, battle 1. This Toxicroak, this is the one time where I risk a fake out. This Toxicroak will always fake out and I don't follow me. And the reason I don't follow me is because it's a 50-50 chance of who it fakes out, and it fakes out, I get lucky and it fakes out Lucario here. Lucario has the ability Inner Focus. It doesn't always, because if it always had the ability Inner Focus, it wouldn't fake out into me, but there's a 50% chance I have the ability Inner Focus, and well, I make sure I have the ability Inner Focus with my Pokemon. So I get faked out, but it does not flinch, so I can knock it out with a super effective Psychic. I'm pretty much max special attack and holding an Expert Belt. Because even though it's holding the Payapa Berry, which have the damage of super effective Psychic type moves, it's 4 times super effective Psychic is, because it's a fighting poison type, and that crit doesn't matter. Psychic should always knock out anyway, even through the berry. So I get a great turn 1 here, but if you see Mantine, which of course I see here, Mantine, one of the most specially bulky Pokemon of all time, like 140 base special defense, is a water type, so it resists Water Spout and has the ability Swift Swim, which doubles its speed in the rain. So it only takes half damage from this, but if my Lucario survives the Hydro Pump, which it is trained to hopefully survive, it has a chance to survive Fake Out from Toxicroak into Hydro Pump, and Hydro Pump can miss. Of course it doesn't miss. and of course it gets the knockout. But if I survive that, I finish it off with a hidden power rock, because again it's holding Wakan Berry for super effective electric type attacks. But slightly slower because I could not knock it out. So an extra turn, but last fight I think this took me 2 extra turns. And here it's just going to go down to a water spout, because even though it doubles the speed in the rain, it's not faster than a Choice Scarf Kyogre, because it has no speed investment, I'm pretty sure. So 3 turns, it's not the best, but I think we still gain another like 30 seconds on my last run. But yes, surviving that Hydro Pump plus the Fake Out while having enough speed to outspeed the Toxicroak and knock it out, it's just kind of asking too much of Lucario. So that's why I'm okay with it getting knocked out there, because otherwise I'm not going to be able to knock out Toxicroak at all. And the reason why you knock out Toxicroak is because it has the dry skin ability, means it's immune to water type attacks. So Kyogre can never knock it out, so you need a partner Pokemon to do so. This fight is one of the easiest fights of all of them. There's pretty much no issue. Bronzong has a Quick Claw item, but even if it goes first, it doesn't have an attack it can do that's worrisome in any way. Floatzel is the most annoying thing to see, just because it also has the ability Swift Swim, so in the rain it has double speed, and it has base 115 speed, so it's already an extremely fast Pokemon, so it outspeeds Kyogre, but it never does anything interesting. In my testing, it's only ever bulked up turn 1. I think it's because of its next Cyclofable, which is always out first. Its gimmick is like, it uses Pokemon with Follow Me, and then its partner Pokemon sets up, and then it attacks. But Floatzel is not very strong defensively, so it just gets knocked out by a Water Spout. It doesn't even need Helping Hand, even though it resists, which is kind of funny. So it uses Bulk Up, and then just gets knocked out. So it's not very concerning, and then there's no Pokemon in the back that are of any worry. Even Bronzong's not a worry. That Clefable animation is funny, but slow. Yeah, so here we get Rotom, which can't do anything. Too slow, and no item of worry or move of worry, and same with Heracross here. They just both get knocked out by Water Spout. So last fight, this also took me 2 turns, it's looking like. So there's not going to be much more of a time save here. It should pretty much always be 2. It should always be 2 turns. Something real badass to happen. You probably need to get Bronzong, Quick Claw activate into critical hit Psychic on Kyogre in order for this to not be a 2-turn fight. Yeah, even a bit of time gain save there. So up to 2 minutes now, which is great. But if something goes wrong, it can really take some time out of your run. So here I use Uxie, kind of a rare Pokemon that I wouldn't expect myself to be using. But because I am using Azelf later on in the final battle for Explosion, I can't use it. And Uxie is the only Pokemon that is faster than base 91 speed and knows the moves Imprison, Protect, and Energy Ball. And I need that for this fight. So in this fight, in later generations, you would never be able to bring Kyogre to this fight, because Gastrodon's Water Spout ability Storm Drain would make Water Spout, it would make it immune to Water-type moves, and would boost its special attack. But in this early generation, redirection abilities like Lightning Rod and Water Spout, they redirect the move, but they don't prevent the damage. So it doesn't redirect Water Spout because it's not a single target move anyway, but it just knocks it out. It's not immune to it. Uxie gets to use Imprison there, so no Pokemon in the back can use Protect. And I get bad luck here with Hippowdon, because Hippowdon changes the weather, and it makes it Sandstorm, which of course decreases my damage. Oh yeah, I also need Uxie because Helping Hand. It knows Helping Hand. It decreases the damage, so here Probopass survives a water spout because it removes the 1.5 times damage boost from the rain because the sand is up, and it gets a 1.5 special defense increase because of the sand, because it's a rock type. But water spout plus energy ball still knocks out. So nothing to worry about there. 2-turn fight for that is ideal, but it can be tough because if a Gastrodon, it always leaves Gastrodon or Luminion in the front, and they both can protect. So if that happens, it is no good. But I get good luck there. 2-turn fight into Mysterial, who ironically ends up having the easiest fights, like the most guaranteed fights, because even though he uses the strongest, like super strong Pokemon, like he's using Palkia, Garchomp, Lucario, Snorlax, Charizard, and Uxie, these are just like crazy strong Pokemon. But the way his sets work and the way he leads his Pokemon is Palkia always comes out first and doesn't have Protect. And in the back, Uxie always comes out last and doesn't have Protect. So Sableye is the only Pokemon that knows to move Faint. That's a Ghost type. So I can Explode next to it and then Faint the partner Pokemon. And even if they Protect, like this Garchomp does, annoying. It slows you down, but I can still break through and then Explode. The fastest Pokemon here is Garchomp, base 102 speed. So I need to be able to outspeed it. And there are not 2 Explosion Pokemon that know the move Explosion that outspeed Garchomp and can knock out Lucario, who is the most difficult Pokemon to knock out with Explosion because it's a Steel type and resists Explosion. But Mewtwo knows Self-Destruct, which is a 200 base power move, 400 effective with the defense halving, but it's still enough to knock out Lucario because, you know, Mewtwo is just kind of a strong Pokemon generally. But it is base 130 speed, so it outspeeds Garchomp easily and can Explode. And then Azelf is, other than Kyogre, Azelf is the second most used Pokemon, I would say, that I used. The second most important Pokemon. It's just so strong, and it knows Explosion. It's the fastest Explosion user with a actual attack stat. So here I use Faint into Lucario in case it protects. It does not protect, and Uxie can't protect. And then just Explosion just knocks them both out, and does not knock out my teammate because Sableye is immune. It's awesome to use a Pokemon like Sableye because this is even like before it got of the Prankster ability in Generation 5, which made it like a usable Pokemon. But here, it has just what you need. And with that, we're halfway through the run. Mysterial is down. And we're going to be... this should always take 2 turns, so this shouldn't be much more of a time save here. We're going to be right around 2 minutes ahead of my first run. Yeah, and here you got to watch the extra celebration animation. And here they start to run the credits, because whenever you beat the final boss, it runs the credits, but you just press A and skip right past that, and we can go on to set 5. So yeah, we're at 2 minutes, but 2 minutes ahead. And there's this huge power spike going into the last 4 sets here. More and more, I'm going to have to rely on using Explosion. And I'm going to have to rely less and less on using Kyogre Water Spout. Just because the Pokemon either get too bulky, or they have some way of too many fake out users or something disrupting Kyogre. So using a Ghost type and Explosion users who are immune to fake out is kind of the play. So for Kinsey for this fight, I have to follow me with Smeargle against Kangaskhan because it knows fake out, and also Hitmonchan because Hitmonchan has the Quick Claw item and has Thunder Punch and Sky Uppercut, which would both do a lot of damage to Kyogre if it triggered. So I need to follow me against that, and that's what I get here. I get Hitmonchan. And my Smeargle, even though I can't afford to give it the Focus Sash item, always lives a non-critical hit Sky Uppercut from Hitmonchan because it's holding the Chople Berry, which halves the damage of super effective fighting type moves. So I am prepared for this. It doesn't trigger though, so I get lucky here. And you need max speed Kyogre without a speed boosting nature, because that's Absol is max speed with a choice scarf of its own. So when I first went through this, I was not fast enough, and I was like, oh goodness, I need to increase that speed to outspeed that Absol. But that turn goes well. What I really don't want to see in the back is Ursaring next to Kangaskhan. So I get lucky here, and while I see the Kangaskhan, I do not see the Ursaring, because Ursaring loves to go for, it's the only Pokemon on this team that knows Protect. And it wants to go Protect because it's holding a Toxic Orb, and the Toxic Orb at the end of a turn poisons you. And it wants to poison itself because it has the ability Quick Feet, which doubles its speed when it has a status condition. So it wants to double its speed, and then after protecting, hit you hard the next turn, but it's such a slow Pokemon that Kyogre still outspeeds it, even if it doubles its speed. So it's not something to worry about. It just wastes time. So I'm glad I didn't see it. Alright, slight time loss here, because I think last time I played, I didn't see a Pokemon that knows Fake Out, and like the Fake Out animation adds like 5 seconds or something like that. So this next fight, I do not know of a way to do it 100% safely. Jackson has a Tangrowth, and Tangrowth has the Quick Claw item, which means it can go first randomly at any time, and a Water Spout from Kyogre does not guarantee knockout. It never knocks out, actually. And a Helping Hand sometimes does not knock out. It should knock out like most of the time, but I think like at least 1/16 of the time it doesn't knock out. And Licky Licky needs a Helping Hand Water Spout in order to knock out. So I go for Jolteon here because it's a Pokemon that knows Helping Hand, and with max special attack and the Expert Belt, it can knock out Tangrowth with Signal Beam. So that's what I have in case I have Tangrowth out. I can either Signal Beam it, and if it's Licky Licky next to Tangrowth, I have Swift. It's like the strongest, fastest Swift user. Jolteon that also has Helping Hand. So I can Swift into both of them, or I can Helping Hand and just hope that I don't get a low roll on Tangrowth. But here I get lucky where I don't see Tangrowth at all. So this fight goes much smoother than it can otherwise, and I can just Water Spout, double knockout. And I don't think it only took 2 turns of my last fight too, which last time I played this fight, which is good. So no more time save here. So yeah, we'll still be about 2 minutes. Going into Caitlyn, who is like, for some reason, like almost like a joke trainer. Like she has a full Eevee evolution team, which is just funny to see in this later half of sets, because the later half of sets is the Pokemon are way stronger, and like the cohesion within teams, like synergies, are just stronger. But they randomly decided to throw a full Eevee team in here. The Flareon has the Quick Claw item, but it has no good move to use. If you got really unlucky and it used Body Slam into Kyogre and got a Paralysis, that's like the only way it can screw you. And this is the other reason why I use Jolteon, not because it's a Eevee evolution, so I'm like on theme with her or anything, but because it knows Thunder and can knock out Vaporeon, because Vaporeon is immune to water type moves because of Water Absorb. So while here it's not going to take any damage from Kyogre's Water Spout, Thunder is like a guaranteed one-shot. And the other slight possibility of getting screwed is Glaceon. It's holding a Focus Band, and a Focus Band, unlike a Focus Sash, which only triggers, but it triggers every time if the Pokemon is at full health and would be brought down to 0 in 1 hit. The Focus Band is any time the Pokemon would be brought to 0 health, there's a 10% chance it triggers and the Pokemon just doesn't get knocked out. And I think I had that happen the last time I did this fight, but I doubled into it and the second hit did not also trigger Focus Band, so I got lucky there. But here we see no Glaceon. Flareon does not get the quick claw boost and does not go for a real attacking move. And it's a quick 2-turn fight. Yeah, the other downside about Kyogre is because it sets up the rain, sets up the weather, you lose a little bit of time after every turn. First when it sets up the rain, and then every turn it likes to be like, oh, it's still raining, just so everybody knows. So there's a bit of time loss there. So ideally, Typhlosion would be the fastest user, but because it doesn't set up its own weather, it's just a lot weaker. So unfortunately, it's just not usable in a lot of fights. Okay, this is the second fight, Joe fight. You might be wondering, Doremi, why are you using a Shuppet? Like, what possible reason would you have for using a Shuppet? What does Shuppet have that nobody else has? Besides that amazing animation where he sticks out his tongue, the reason why I'm using a Shuppet is because Joe's strategy here is to use spread type moves, so like this Entei knows Lava Plume, and he'll either switch in Arcanine next to it, which is like immune to fire type, or he'll protect and like go for doubles and like the Electivire or whatever as like discharge, and the Suicune knows Surf, like that's like his thing. So in order to disincentivize the protect as much as possible, I'm using Shuppet as a ghost type. I need a ghost type that I can go next to, so that limits the pool pretty significantly, but Shuppet is the least bulky ghost type Pokemon I can choose from. So I have 0 IVs in HP, defense, and special defense, and a minus special defense nature, I believe. And then turn 1 I always imprison and explode with Electrode. So the reason is, like, all these Pokemon besides Suicune, I think, see a knockout on Shuppet, so they are less likely to protect. I did not get lucky there with Electivire protecting turn 1, but that happens. And then I need 2 Pokemon that outspeed base 115 and no explosion. So I can't use Azelf because Azelf is base 115. So I have to use Electrode. But Electrode with a Choice Band, max attack, is strong enough to knock out every Pokemon with explosion except for Suicune. And Mewtwo with Self-Destruct and a Life Orb. I can't do a speed move, I can't do an attack boosting nature, so it knocks out every Pokemon except for Suicune with Self-Destruct as well. And Kyogre's in the back has Thunder, because in this case scenario with the Pokemon protected first turn and I have to send in Kyogre, Thunder deals with Lapras and Suicune, and Water Spout deals with everything else. So here, I thought I specifically made it so Thunder plus Nightshade from Shuppet is a guaranteed knockout, but look at this. That looked like it knocked it out, but it lived on 1 health. So this is a time loss here. It's fine for this battle to go 3 turns. It should never go 4. Or I hope it never goes 4. But here it goes 4. I think what I will... And also my Shuppet was supposed to outspeed Suicune. Which means this Suicune is an unusual set because every Pokemon is either like max speed, max attack with its EV allocation, or it's like a max bulk, max attack, or it's like max HP and max defense or special defense. But for some reason, this Suicune is both max HP and max speed. I don't know why. But it must be max defense or max HP in order to be living the explosions and self-destructs. And it has to be max speed because it just outsped my Shuppet, which is supposed to be 1 speed higher than it. So if I read this battle, I'm going to make sure to get a Shuppet that's max speed, and I'll probably give it Shadow Claw over Nightshade, because apparently Nightshade which doesn't do enough damage, and Shuppet actually has base 75 attack. That's like high for such a low evolution Pokemon. So if I can get it to outspeed, max speed, and non-speed boosting nature Suicune, then Shadow Claw would be the way to go. And it has Shadow Sneak in case it's next to Lapras, just because Lapras has Quick Claw, it can just go off, and I want to have priority in that case. But on to set 6. Set 6 is probably the set, other than the final set, that I spent the most time in. It's also the one I got the most inspiration from Peas and Wycrin, who have previously run this category, because you just need, there's only like, I feel like this is the only thing you can do to get through these fights. So everything's Explosion. I'm using Choice Scarf Glalie, who can't get faked out by this Persian here, and can explode before anyone moves. And Bayonet, this Bayonet is like the most specific Bayonet possible. It is Imprison Protect to prevent some protects in certain fights, and then Foresight in order to make ghost types hitable with Explosion, and Shadow Sneak in order to break Focus Sash and get a few knockouts and guarantee some other knockouts with Explosion. So my difference from the other two guys' sets is I bring Gengar here in the back, and you might be like, yeah, Gengar can't get faked out, but it's still slower than Persian. Persian is base 115, Gengar's 110. But Persian, even though it knows Bite, I made sure that it can't see a knockout with Bite against my Gengar, and I give it the Lumberry or a Chesto Berry would work. So it always hypnosises into one of my two Pokemon. Pretty much, for some reason, I think it likes to go into Gengar because it's like a Psychic type move or something, even though it doesn't do damage. So I can run an Adamant Max Attack Gengar here, who guarantees explodes and knocks out Blastoise, which is the most defensive Pokemon on the team, and it can't get faked out. So you have to watch the animation sometimes of Persian hypnosising Gengar, and then you eating the berry, but that's pretty fast. And then you can explode on everything. So I find that to be the most consistent way to get through that fight. And I Shadow Snuck Jinx there because it has the Bright Powder. It never knocks out pretty much without a crit, but it's kind of the best thing to do, because if I have to hit it twice anyway, I might as well hit it once, and maybe if I get the crit, I'm lucky. And then on to Miriam. So this fight is pretty annoying. It can be pretty annoying. If I see Gengar or Blaziken, I need to Shadow Sneak them. And they have a few Pokemon that are faster than mine. So here, I see Gengar. I could Foresight it, but it has a chance to knock out Bayonet with a crit Shadow Ball, and I can't risk that. So Shadow Sneak kills most of the time with an Adamant Bayonet, and then I just explode. And you would think that Metagross, one of the most bulky Pokemon, resists explosion, would not die to an explosion, but Choice Band Metagross is the strongest, second strongest explosion user. The first strongest is Licky Licky. You would not think Licky Licky is the strongest explosion user, but it is, and here he is. I would never have ever guessed I was going to use a Licky Licky going into this, getting into this speed run, but here he is. Because he's a normal type, he gets the 1.5 times stab, same type attack bonus boost on explosion. So it really helps. And max speed Jolly. Unfortunately, because it's Jolly, it's actually a little bit weaker than Metagross, I believe. But no, I think it's still slightly stronger, which is why it has the Life Orb and Metagross has the Choice Band. But with the Choice Band, Metagross is stronger. So here, Blaziken always faints. Always faints. So it's kind of, you can just kind of ignore it and just Shadow Sneak into it and break the Focus Sash. And here I get bad luck. Electrode has the Bright Powder. Explosion should never miss normally. This should be a two-turn fight with the luck I got, other than the Bright Powder miss. So here it misses. That means I need to send in another Pokemon. So I gotta watch Licky Licky faint, and I gotta send in. So in the back here, I've got Glalie just in case with the Choice Scarf. Pretty sure it's still slower than Electrode, but I explode again. If I miss again, then I'm just gonna have to Shadow Sneak it down. But it loves to go for Magnet Rise. I'm actually surprised it didn't go for Magnet Rise first. I've never seen it attack before using Magnet Rise. So here we go. I'm losing some time here. Yeah, I lost some time at the end of set 5 into Joe because of Protects, and now I'm losing more time here with Miriam having to take 3 turns instead of 2, but I'm still going to be like 45 seconds ahead. A little less. Yeah, like 30 seconds, geez. Alright, Monica, again, is a super tricky battle here. Has an Alakazam that knows both Protect and Focus Sash, has a Focus Sash item so it can't get knocked out in one hit, and it uses Protect every single time I see it out. And because of Bayonet's max speed, I need it to be an attack boosting nature, so it can only be so fast with base 65 speed. Her Ninetales always outspeeds by Metagross and my Licky because they need to be 1 point slower than Bayonet so it can Foresight Pokemon before they explode. So here it always gets an attack off, but it always goes for Will-O-Wisp. And you would think that would matter having my attack, because that's what Burn has an opponent's physical attack. But Metagross doesn't give a crap. You can have its attack and it will still knock out both of these Pokemon with Explosion. So, goodbye. Ideally the Will-O-Wisp just missed though, because it's only like 70% accurate or something. Maybe 75% this generation. But there we go. Both Pokemon are down. And then in the back, no Pokemon can Protect anymore, which is great to see because every Pokemon on our team besides Wobbuffet knows Protect. Though I noticed they don't go for Protect that much because they want to get off. All these Pokemon don't have attacking moves, except for Alakazam. They all use like Encore Disable is her main strat, as is using Will-O-Wisp. Multiple Pokemon have Will-O-Wisp and Toxic and stuff like that. So here, I'm going to use Foresight on Dusknoir, so even though it's a Ghost type, it can now be hit by normal type moves. And then I can just Explode, and it's strong enough to knock out even the bulky Wobbuffet. And Dusknoir is also pretty bulky, but it gets both. So goodbye. Also, it is so funny that female Wobbuffet has lipstick on. Like, there's sometimes slight gender differences in terms of the Pokemon's appearance, but this one is like, first of all, so anthropomorphized. Like, what? Why are you using like Western beauty standards for Pokemon? Very, very funny. But and that Pokemon, that Wobbuffet's always female too, so it's just funny. All right, so I got good luck with that 2 turns. So I'm gonna gain a lot of time back because last time I saw Alakazam. Yeah, look at that. I get pretty much over a minute and like 10 seconds back. Because I saw Alakazam and it Protected and took an extra turn to knock out with due to its Focus Sash. So, alright, on to the final battle with Sashay. And this fight is really tricky. She has the most defensive Pokemon. Pretty much, that's like her thing. Other than Togekiss, who could be like a Blissey or something. She's extremely defensive Pokemon. So here, yeah, the internet says that she always leaves Umbreon, but in my experience, she does not always leave Umbreon. She often does, but she does not always, so if you see that, that's incorrect. As you can see right here, she does not lead Umbreon. But Explosion just knocks out both these Pokemon, so I can use Imprison, which doesn't do anything because none of her Pokemon actually know Protect. But I have nothing better to do with the net. And I can Explode. And there's 2 Pokemon I don't want to see, but it's fine if I don't see them next to each other. And she has Giratina, who I need a Foresight because it's a Ghost type. And she has Registeel, which is like the only Pokemon that doesn't die to these really strong explosions. And I didn't see either of them first, so I'm a little worried. I see Giratina, I'm like, oh, it's fine. As long as she doesn't have Registeel, next to it. As long as she's enough Registeel next to it, it's a two-turn fight. And you can see I'm waggling that remote because she has the Registeel. So here I need to Foresight the Giratina and explode. But Explosion always leaves Registeel with just a sliver of health, so if I can Shadow Sneak into the Registeel and explode, it would actually knock it out. But this is worrisome because it's just not going to knock out the Registeel, and then it can double team, or it wouldn't knock out the Registeel if I didn't get a critical hit. So that is the luck that just saves me 30 seconds at least, because it knows Rest, double team, Iron Defense, and then an attacking move. So if it just double teamed there, and then dodged my next attack and then rested back up to full health, it would be a major problem. But that's pretty bad luck to have to get. So here I get extra lucky with a critical hit and 2 turns, so now I'm going to gain even more turn time back because it took me 3 turns the last time, I believe. And going on to set 7. Let's see how much time. Yeah, almost up to 2 minutes again. And this next set, I go back from Explosion to Water Spout. I still use Explosion for the first fight, but the rest is going to be Water Spout Kyogre. Just because of how the fights go. But this might be the most luck swingy set of all of them. There's just a lot of bright powders. There's a lot of luck of what 2 Pokemon the opponent leads. But this first fight's pretty guaranteed, pretty easy. Explosion knocks out everything but Aggron, and Aggron feints to stabilize Hidden Power fighting. So they have 2 Fake Out users, Ludicolo and Hariyama, both no Fake Out, but I'm bringing the classic Glalie Drifloon combination, which Jolly max speed, outspeed all of her Pokemon because her Dragonite does not have a speed boosting nature. And her Gardevoir doesn't either. Dragonite and Gardevoir would both be base 80 speed as well, but they're not max speed. So I can just explode into everything and knock it out. And the reason why I have Fake Out on Sableye is if Hariyama leads, Hariyama does have a Quick Claw, and it knows Dynamic Punch and Rock Slide, and I don't want it going first and using those moves. Even though I can't flinch on Glalie, so Rock Slide is not really the end of the world. If it got a 20% chance into moving first into a 50% chance to hit Dynamic Punch, it would knock out Glalie. So if Hariyama's out first, I do just Fake it out. Unless Aggron was also out first, then I would risk it. But don't get either of those out first. And Drifloon is here now. And Hariyama is in the back, so I could get bad luck with a Quick Claw proc into a Rock Slide flinch. But that's pretty unlikely, so it does not happen. And Explosion just knocks them both out, and the crit does not matter. So you'll see differences in animation here of like who gets hit first, and it's based on the speed of your partner Pokemon. So there, because Dragonite outsped Sableye, it showed Dragonite first, and then it showed Sableye like not being hit, and then it shows Hariyama being hit. And when possible, I made it so that the partner Pokemon was either faster than all the opponent Pokemon or slower, so that it would show both opponents getting hit at the same time, which is speeds it up because you don't have to watch the animation twice. But what I learned, I don't know if anyone else knows this, but in this game, like I don't know if anyone knows this, I wasn't able to find anything online. I used 100 damage calculators in order to figure this out. But I'll talk more about in set 8, is based on your partner Pokemon's speed and the use of Explosion, your partner Pokemon either takes spread damage as you would expect because it's a spread type move and it's hitting everyone at the field at once, or if it knocks out both opponent Pokemon first and then yourself, it does single target damage, which makes no sense. And it's just based on speed order and like the camera angles. I don't think it happens in like on the cart games like on DS and Pokemon Pearl, Platinum, Diamond, Pearl, Platinum, or Gold, Soul, Silver. I don't think that happens. So here in this fight, it's a Lightning Rod user next to a Pokemon that's weak to Electric, and they always protect. They literally always protect. There's both a Manectric and a Rhyperior. One of them always comes out first, and it always protects. So that's why I fainted into it, thinking it would protect and I could knock it out with Water Spout. But because it knows Earthquake, it saw a knockout on my Raichu, and it's next to Gyarados, so it wouldn't hurt its partner Pokemon. So that was like a one time where it actually would go for Earthquake. And here I hold a Focus Sash, I don't actually get knocked out. And if I'd known it wasn't going to protect, I would have just thundered into Gyarados, and this would have been a 2-turn fight. But I get bad luck with the no protect, and I didn't call that I got good luck with the no protect, and I didn't call that I would get the good luck. And getting the paralysis on Gyarados is actually just a time loss because I have to watch the get paralyzed animation, which is slowing down. But Raichu can only get static as its ability. It can't have a different ability. So here you're gonna knock out both. This is gonna end up being a 3-turn, but it was a 3-turn last time I did it. It's hard for this one to be a 2-turn if Gyarados or Starmie come out, because both those Pokemon need. Well, Starmie can get knocked out to a Helping Hand Water Spout, but Gyarados doesn't. Gyarados needs to be attacked into. Here, as a slight misplay, I shouldn't Helping Hand because I'm pretty sure a single target Water Spout knocks out without Helping Hand. Because I don't know if I mentioned or not, but in this game, in many Pokemon games, all spread moves, so moves that hit more than one opponent, get reduced in power, because otherwise they'd be kind of broken. They're still broken, but they'd be even more broken. So they get reduced by 75%. So if like a Water Spout's hitting 2 opponent Pokemon, it's going to be reduced by 75%, but there, because it's just hitting a single Pokemon on the other side of the field, it would be 100% power, so I'm pretty sure that just knocks out Starmie. Okay, this fight, I hate this fight. I hate this fight. Lonnie, I don't like you, buddy. So this is a fight where they lead Regigigas in the front and Slaking in the back, and these are 2 Pokemon with amazing stats, but a really bad ability. So the goal is for the Pokemon next to Regigigas or Slaking to use a move on their partner Pokemon, like Skill Swap, or Gastro Acid, or Worry Seed, or whatever, to like get rid of their bad ability. And here I make a misplay. I know Regigigas doesn't faint to Water Spout, but in all my testing, Swalot has never survived a Water Spout, and here it survived a Water Spout. So here, if I had Rock Slid, it would have been a 2-turn fight, and instead I Waterfalled, because even though I'm holding the Wide Lens item, which increases the accuracy of my moves by 10%, the way rounding works, Rock Slide is still a 99% accurate move, and so it's a 1% chance to miss. So because I didn't think I needed to hit into Swalot, I did not Rock Slide when I should have. And it used Gastro Acid, and it tried to use it on its partner Pokemon, which turns off its ability. But because the partner Pokemon was knocked out, it redirected into Kabutops, which is bad, because now it doesn't have Swift Swim, so it doesn't have double speed, and it does not outspeed Sceptile. So here, and Water Spout doesn't knock out Sceptile. So the whole point is I need to be able to Rock Slide or X Scissor into Sceptile as well. So this is just kind of a cluster, you know what. So, but here at least it doesn't ever attack Kyogre because it sees the 4x super effective Energy Ball knockout into Kabutops, but this should never happen. Though it is holding up the Bright Powder, so this Sceptile is like my worst enemy. But it's why I have Wide Lens Kabutops with X Scissor. So it's still like a 99% chance to hit Sceptile normally. Here, Slaking always goes down to Water Spout without Helping Hand. And the reason why I have Hidden Power Drifloon is in case something terrible like this happens. I'll bring Drifloon in and it can Hidden Power Ice and deal with Sceptile. But didn't actually need to use it. But 3 turns instead of 2 turns, and we are going to lose, 35 seconds probably. And Slaking has the most dramatic beginning animation. It's like he's saying the voices as he covers his ears and then thanks. But yeah, so bad luck there, bad misplay there into some not great luck. And then we're going into Kruger whose gimmick is explosion, explosion, explosion. Oops, all explosion, except for Latios and Zapdos. Is Latios is holding a Soul Dew, boosting its special defense by 1.5 times, meaning Water Spout does almost no damage into it. I noticed that Wycrin used a Poliwrath in this fight, and I think that's not good. Poliwrath does get double speed with Swift Swim, and it gets a fighting type move and an ice type move in order to help deal with Regice and Latios, which are two Pokemon that don't. So I think you actually use Damp. Use Damp to prevent the explosions. And I say, damn the explosions. I don't care about the explosions. The only Pokemon that can feasibly use Explosion on me is Regirock. And it is only because it has a Quick Claw and has a chance to go first. But if Regirock comes out and gets a Quick Claw Explosion, while it does knock out Kyogre, it does not knock out Kabutops. And Kabutops, with Waterfall, one-shots it, I'm pretty sure, in the rain. So I need to rerun that damage calculations, because in my head now it's sounding like it wouldn't, but it's enough to deal with it at least. So here there's Regirock and Latios. So I have Waterfall into Regice if I see it, because Helping Hand Water Spout does not knock out. And here, Latios, I need the X Scissor. So here I get lucky, and Regirock doesn't get the Quick Claw, it doesn't go for Protect, and I get the crit on Latios. So this is extremely lucky turn. I shouldn't need the crit on Latios because of Max Attack Adamant. X Scissor from Kabutops should be enough to finish off Latios. But I don't think it does every single time. I think just most of the time. So there I get great luck, and I'm going to gain time back, because that definitely took me 3 turns last time. Actually, I don't know if it did. It might have taken 2 turns. We'll see if I got more time back. Well, it didn't. It must have taken me 2. I must have got lucky last time too with 2 turns. But that fight will often take 3 with a bad Protect. Kabutops is just a crazy cool Pokemon next to Kyogre. Doubles its speed, it knows Feint, and it knows a physical spread move. So it's just a good part of the Pokemon there. I think it's the right selection for set 7. Okay, on to set 8. This is set 8, obviously the hardest. Everyone's gimmick is a weather gimmick. It's kind of like their strategies. The first one's Hail, second one is Sand, third one is, for some reason, is not a weather gimmick. It is Trick Room. Super slow Pokemon in Trick Room. And then the last one is Rain. Courtney here. This is actually the toughest fight of the set, in my opinion. Her Jirachi is super difficult to deal with. I originally was using the same thing that Keys and Wycrin were using with Swift Swim, Explosion, Quillfish in the final battle. But I needed the extra slot here, so I'm doing Eruption. I have Eruption, Typhlosion, and Exeggutor as my extra Pokemon, which I think is the right play. So here, if you see Frostlass, you Feint Attack it. Guarantees a knockout. It has the Bright Powder, so Feint Attack can never miss, though. So we ignore the Bright Powder, we knock it out, and I purposely have... you need Life Orb for certain knockouts, unfortunately, so you have to watch the animation there. But Ice Punch always knocks out Shiftry. I made sure, because Abomasnow will protect otherwise, like in Wycrin's run, Abomasnow protects. But for me, he never protects because he always sees the knockout in Shiftry, and I am fine with Shiftry getting knocked out. I don't want it frozen on the field. I'd rather it be gone. And then it also means that it never attacks into Groudon, so it can get full power eruptions off. Yeah. And then in the back, I have Choice Scarf, Eruption, Typhlosion in the sun is really strong, but the one Pokemon I don't want to see is Walrein, because it's not guaranteed to knock out Walrein in one hit. So here I make a misplay, huge misplay. I literally click Overheat, and I go back to click Solar Beam, because Overheat has a chance to miss, but I should have clicked Eruption or Overheat, because I went for Solar Beam. and all the Pokemon on the opponent's team are faster than my Groudon. It's holding an Iron Ball to go last so that it sets up the weather last. Yeah, the Pokemon's base speed determines when its weather setting ability goes off, so I need to get up the sun. So here it goes for Hail. So super bad of me. The Solar Beam is only a one-turn move in the sun. So here I don't get to attack, I'm absorbing light, and I have to watch the Hail animation hit all of my Pokemon. You see me shaking the remote, I am not happy about my misplay there. But overall, it's still only a 3-turn fight. In my last run, this was a 4 or 5-turn fight because Jirachi lived a move that I was not supposed to live, and it made me remake this whole team, honestly, because I was using Fire Punch as Elf Choice Band, and I thought it would knock out in the sun, and it did not. But here it was quick. We still get the knockout. And here, because I have the super slow partner Groudon, this is what it should always survive an explosion from Shiftry. And I was noticing that it was not surviving sometimes and surviving sometimes, and that's when I figured out the single target. So I still got some timing in there, but the single target explosion into my partner Pokemon, it happens if my Pokemon is slower than the other 2 Pokemon. And that's what I kept noticing. So I have to be very careful of when I protect into my explosion and when I take the hit. Here, turn 2 is actually surprising. You don't bring the sun, even though it's a sand battle. You would think, oh, let's just bring the sun and then Earthquake or something. No, we're going to bring Blastoise as our Water Spout user of choice. No Kyogre, and we're going to bring Gengar because Gengar outspeeds every Pokemon on the opponent's team and learns Rain Dance. So Tyranitar sets up the sun, and we say, I don't care, I'm going to set up the rain, and then Water Spout. And Water Spout from Blastoise outspeeds every Pokemon on the opponent's team except for Garchomp. But if Garchomp is out, it sees the knockout on Gengar with Dragon Claw. So it almost always goes for Dragon Claw. Sometimes it Earthquakes, but pretty rarely. And it's good to see Omna start out first because it has the ability, like Kabutops, where Swift Swim, where it doubles its speed in the rain. But because it's out first, it doesn't get a chance to double its speed, so I can just knock it out. And here I don't see a Garchomp. I see Armaldo and I think Cradily. Yeah, Cradily. Both of these get knocked out by Water Spout, but Armaldo does have the Quick Claw item and can go first, which is why I protect Gengar, because if it does go first, it's pretty guaranteed to either it's going to use Sandstorm to set up the sand, or it's going to attack into Gengar. If it sets up the sand, it will take another turn to knock out Pokemon unless it gets the crit, like I did there. But otherwise, it attacks into Gengar looking for the knockout. But my Gengar is Focus Sash also, so it won't get knocked out in one hit. But Ryan's the easiest fight of these 4, for sure. It can go astray. Has a Gligar with the the Bright Powder. And the reason why you really need to turn off the weather for these first 2 fights is because they have Pokemon whose evasion gets increased in the weather condition. Like Frostlass has an ability that increases evasion and it's holding Bright Powder, and Gligar has an ability that increases evasion in the Sandstorm and it's holding Bright Powder. So you don't want to deal with that. You can't deal with that, so you need to turn off the weather. Alright, this fight was my major time loss. The second last fight of the entire run, of course. It took me like 5 or 6 turns because Trick Room got up. And I almost lost the fight, but I was able to claw it back. And then here, I'm only going to take 2 turns. This is what part of why I'm using Exeggutor in the back. So here, unless I see Rhyperior up front, I am going to Protect Explode. Or actually, no, sorry. In this fight, I don't need to Protect Explode because Groudon, while slower than every Pokemon in the first 2 fights, is faster than every Pokemon in this fight because they all have 0 speed or 0 speed IV or minus speed natures or whatever because it's a Trick Room team. So here I don't need to protect. I choose to so that I have the opportunity to tank Explosion in the second turn in case I see Paris, which I'm going to see here. So sometimes that Marowak would protect, but because I'm minus defense, 0 defense, 0 HP IV Shiftry, it sees the knockout in the sun with Fire Punch, so it doesn't protect a lot of the time there. So it always attacks, and I can get the double knockout with Explosion, with Life Orb. It knocks out Slowbro. That Slowbro is max HP, max special defense. And here, second, Slowking is always in the back, Slowbro is always in the front. So here I get Slowking plus Paris, and Choice Band Explosion from Exeggutor does not knock out my own Groudon without a crit. And even if it does, so here, look, here it's showing my Pokemon getting hit at the same time as the opponent's Pokemon, which means I don't get knocked out because it's not single target damage. But if it showed my Pokemon last, it would be single target damage, and that's ridiculous. Crit doesn't matter here, it would die anyway, but it has a Focus Sash, so it doesn't get knocked out in one hit. And I get to just finish it off with Groudon. Even if my Groudon got crit and knocked out, the sun being up would have finished off this Parasect because it has the ability Dry Skin, and if you have the ability Dry Skin in the sun, you take damage every turn. If it's in the rain, you gain health every turn. But there you go, 2-turn fight instead of a 5 or 6 turn fight last time. So it went from 5-minute turn to like a 2-minute 30-second turn. There's 4 minutes gained. I'm a 420, blaze it into the final fight, and the final fight is guaranteed. Everyone else was using Swift Swim Quillfish next to Gengar, which I think is slightly faster, but it reduces the team slot that I can use. So I need the extra team slot. So I set up the sun here and have a Shiftry, which outspeeds max speed Modest Kyogre in the with the Choice Scarf because I'm in the sun. And yeah, I don't know if I mentioned, but Shiftry gets Chlorophyll ability and it doubles its speed in the sun. And so does Exeggutor. So both these Pokemon double its speed in the sun, and they both know Explosion. So they're a great partner pair here. None of Mysterio's Pokemon know Protect. None of Mysterio's Pokemon have a Bright Powder or a Quick Claw or anything. They're just nasty, crazy strong Pokemon. Like, his team always leads with a Choice Scarf Kyogre, like what I've been using to beat most of these fights. He has a Palkia, a Mewtwo, a Latios with a Soldew, a Lugia, and a Manaphy. Like, all legends, all the time. Crazy fight if you're a casual. Like, as a kid, this guy, like, smoked my you-know-what every single time. And if you're trying to do this fight with, like, the in-game, like, made passes, you're screwed. This is, like, so impossible to beat. But here, the sun is still up, and the fastest Pokemon my opponent can send out here would be Mewtwo, and Exeggutor outspeeds Mewtwo and knocks out all of Pokemon with Explosion. Here I go for a double Protect. I don't think I should do that. I get it, and I'm lucky here, so I don't have to watch Groudon's Fainting animation. Like, the Protect animation is slightly faster, I think. But I think I shouldn't go for that double Protect, and I should just let myself get knocked out by Explosion. And I would get knocked out because it does single target damage to me because it is the slowest Pokemon, and it would hit both opponents first. So, like, right here after this, boom, is when I would get hit. And for some reason it would do single target damage and knock me out, but boom, that doesn't happen. And Exeggutor has a pretty fast fading animation, which is good to see. And there we go. Last fight done. Mysterio defeated. I think this is about like a 4-minute improvement over the previous world record. I'll have to check to see exactly how much it is. But there we go. 127.8. I'll have to double check to make sure that's the exact time. But we did it. I'm happy. I'm spinning my remote. And then now I'm going to go through all of my Pokemon. I'd say it was a pretty good run overall. 2 slight misplays on my end. But I'd say my luck was slightly above average. I got a little lucky. I'd say without changing any Pokemon sets, and without the luck being crazily different, just like a little better, I could probably knock off another 3 minutes, 4 minutes, with like perfect luck maybe. But there's a few sets that after doing this run I might change a little bit, like the Kabutops set from round 2. Things like that. But here I'm just going to go through my Pokemon. There's pretty much a reason for everything. If something seems weird, I'm either an idiot and didn't notice something, or there's a specific reason. I deleted all moves that were not used, that I'm not going to be using. I try to only keep the important moves. All the items are intentional. If you see a wide lens on a Pokemon with only 100% accurate moves, it's because it's going to be attacking sometimes into a Pokemon with a Bright Powder. If you see Pokemon with IVs, like every IV is intentional. If you see Pokemon with partial IVs or 0 IVs or minus specially defensive or physically defensive nature, that's on purpose. It's to encourage Pokemon to attack and not protect. Things like that. But yeah, I think this one went pretty well. While I only did 2 runs, I did at least like 50 hours of planning and testing and finding out how fast a Pokemon is, or finding out how defensive it is. Like, for example, set 8 Ruth for Snorlax is max defense. Weirdly, not HP, because its HP stat is high, so smart, whoever made the set, it's max defense. And my explosion originally wasn't knocking out, so I needed to switch to the Life Orb item. On Shiftry, things like that. So a lot of testing went into this, and yeah, I'm going to go through each one of these Pokemon sets as per the rules, show them off. Lucario is a great early game support Pokemon here, but it really fades later into the game when you need other things, and especially when you go for explosion strategies, because it's not a ghost type. But Lucario is the GOAT of the early game, and I also have the world record in a different category for this game, which is any percent with transfers, where it's just playing through the whole game once as fast as possible using transfers, and Lucario was the main support Pokemon for that run, as well as Kyogre being the main damage Pokemon for that run too. So I have a bit of fondness for Lucario because of that. But here I get to use so many interesting Pokemon that I would have never expected using. Like, I would never have expected leading into a Mysterio, like a Shuppet Mewtwo. Like, what kind of combination is that? Or no, I think it's, yeah, Shuppet Electrode. Like, those are like 2 normally, traditionally very weak, underused Pokemon. Like, you would never use them. But here, it just makes all the factors come together, and it makes sense to have specific needs to use these types of Pokemon. And very much abusing Explosion's power. And I know that for Pokemon VGC in 2008 and 9 and 10, Explosion was just like the bane of everybody's existence. Like, I wasn't playing during that time, but I'm definitely I play a lot of Pokemon VGC. I started playing 2015, 2016. I don't play as much anymore, but I'm pretty comfortable with double battles. I think that gives me a lot of look into this type of speedrun, and I know a lot about older generation, the special mechanics, so that also gives me a pretty big edge here. But yeah, just like 2028 Gen 4 is what I meant to say. Gen 4 VGC Explosion is king, and I definitely use that as much as possible. And I love using Bayonet. Like, I never imagined Bayonet would be such an important Pokemon, but it is literally irreplaceable. There is no Pokemon that does what Bayonet does and has the speed and attack necessary that Bayonet has. So yeah, it just feels cool to plan all of this out and have it come to fruition. I did not get to use a Shroomish, unfortunately, or a Breloom even, which would actually make sense to use. But it is what it is. Yeah, and here I'm going to do the final few sets of Pokemon here. If anyone who has run this category before, anyone who's interested in running this category, wants to hit me up on Discord, same name, DoReMi, feel free. I'm in the Pokemon Battle Revolution Discord, which is linked on speedrun.com, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, definitely down to collaborate or talk about like why I used something, like I have some spread or move choice or item choice or ability choice or whatever. I also have an Excel sheet I kind of put together for all these fights, where I highlight what I do on each turn and why, and what to do against certain leads and what to do against others. So that's definitely something I can share with someone if they're interested. And of course I've got to shout out Peas and Wycrin, who have both run this category before. They have the 2 other runs in this category. I've definitely watched their VODs of their runs, and they definitely provide a lot of inspiration for some of these sets. Sometimes I'm like, hey, I can do better than that, and sometimes I'm like, wow, they really figured it out. I would have never thought of that. So it is fun to be able to see that. And here I'm going through, this is the final Pokemon right here. Or is there a Gengar still? Yep, there's the Gengar. Focus Sash Gengar and Power Ice, in case anyone's wondering, for Gliscor on Ryan's team. That one-shots it. But yeah, that's all the Pokemon. Thanks everybody for watching this video. I definitely am down to continue running this category. And I really like what transfers, all the planning transfers allow for, and the extra strategies that open up because of it. So I look forward to playing this game a little bit more. But thank you so much. I look forward to seeing you too.